happening at the ankle so that the thighs and legs are not also rotating this way. Always reverse your circle. So out to come in, out to come in. And you can always do one and then the other, but just as long as they're both heading in the same direction. Also, for a little bit more foot mobility, cross your leg over. Hold on to the top of your foot, so above your toes, and then just relax the foot and manipulate it with your hands. So you're, again, drawing a nice full circle, not letting it skip any part, making sure it's going both directions as many times as you choose. And then same thing, grab from the very top of the foot, pull those toes down so they're nice and long, and then towards the heel. So it's a nice long arc rather than a nice and like little crunch, Cruella de Vil crunch. Full, and then again, flexing, you can pull it back and really pull those toes back towards the ankle, and lots of length and pressure out through the heel, out through the Achilles, nice and long into that. Good. From there, and of course you do everything on the other side. You're going to open into straddle, so bringing both knees in and then opening them side. You can then press your hips forward. Make sure you don't press to the point where you're sitting off of your hip bones, so that you're really sitting up nice and tall. Both knees are up to the ceiling rather than in front of you and pointing forward. From here, you're going to lengthen one arm up and over so you're sideways. Really keep your shoulders stacked, so don't let it roll forward yet. Long arm, long top of the head. Keep the opposite hip on the floor. Don't let that come up. Hold here for a while. Then you're going to turn your body and face that leg. Both hands on the floor, chest squared. Don't let that hip come off or roll forward, so that knee is still pointing up to the ceiling. Stay, 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 stay. Keeping your body close to the floor as you can. Walk yourself center. Sorry. Okay. And then relax in the front. Again, keep both knees pointing up to the ceiling and don't shift off yet. Keep both hip bones down. Hold, hold, hold. Walk yourself to your opposite side. Facing that leg, try to square both shoulders towards this knee. And then you would tuck your shoulder underneath and open to the top. Nice long arm rather than curled in. Nice and long. Lots of length and extension out through the legs, out through the head, out through the arm, and then coming up. The other thing you can do through all of this is, once you've gone through each of those positions and held each one, relaxed in that, you can start to move through it. So you would start, again, over to the side, and then just nice long stretch around to the other side, and back up, and then reverse. Over, reach out and long, that's okay, and back up. So you have a little bit more movement through everything this way. Alright, so from here we're going to increase your stretch within the inner thighs. So you're going to close both legs, come up onto your hands and knees. Now you're going to open your knees so that they're nice and wide. You want to start with weight onto your hands, so now your hip bones are forward of your knees. But now from here, you're going to walk yourself slightly back so that your hips are in line with your knees. So it's one straight line across. Try to relax down and just release onto your elbows, or depending on how far down you can go. So if your knees are only go this far, then you can keep weight onto your hands, or you still go down to the elbows. But the point is to release those inner thighs and that groin. Open the legs as far away as possible and stay here. Again, hips are not back of the knees or forward yet, so they're nice and in line. Hold, hold, hold for quite some time. This is a really resistant stretch. The inner thighs are very hard to open, and as well as that groin. And we're working for those middle splits, so really stay here for a good 2 minutes. After that, then you can walk yourself forward, take those hips with you, and release them onto the floor. Keep the knees bent, and again, stay here for another 2 minutes. You've now opened a little bit higher up into the hip bone and a little bit lower, deeper into the back of that hamstring. And then stay here for a while. It's okay. It does not matter if your feet are on the floor or not. Ideally they would be, but try not to let them sickle, just to not teach the body bad habits. So they can be relaxed, they don't have to point, but they do need to have pinkies to the ceiling. Yeah. Okay, and then just stay here for quite some time. Okay, once you're done, close those hips in, probably sit back, wiggle into the hip bones. Everything's gonna be a little bit resistant to move, so same thing, always just shake out the legs, nice and loose into the hip bone. I'm gonna put a little bit more work into the upper back now, lower back, middle of the chest, so we're gonna work your way into some bridges and to some severe arches. So, sitting on your knees, you're gonna walk yourself out and press those hips down to the floor, keep those shoulders up to the ceiling. Nice long spine, try not to let the shoulders come into the ears so that they're really pushing down, nice and long. In the beginning, you want your feet just slightly apart, nice long extended legs, very calm and open through the spine, trying to stack everything up on top of one another. After you hold for a while, bring yourself down. Now you'll close your legs so the legs are together and arch back up. So you're going more towards your surface arch position. Again, shoulders down out of the ears. Keep those feet pointed, legs long together. Hold, nice long back of the neck. Stay here for a while, then come back. Then with a partner, from here, you start nice and long. Legs are together. She's gonna grab from under between my elbow and my shoulder, so she's grabbing my tricep, and then slowly and slightly pulling up and back. Long arms, try not to let them die. Same thing with the shoulders, keep them down into the back. Don't let them open. Hold for a while, and then they'll slowly lengthen you back out along the mat. Good. From there, I'm going to pull back onto my knees. Good. So we're going to go into the same position, but I'm going to push my hips forward first rather than arch from the head first. So I start up on my knees. She has more of my wrists, and she's going to slowly walk forward with me as she's pulling me up to the ceiling. My job is to keep my shoulders down and slowly press my hips down to the floor. Stay up, up, up. And she's giving me resistance. Same position. And then from here, after you've held, she's again going to slowly lower down, nice and calm, and relax. Good. From here, we're going to go into some bridges. So first, you want to get into your own bridge. So nice long spine to start with, feet apart, flat on the floor, don't let them turn out or in. Hands close to the shoulders, push those hips up, and press the head to the bottom. Stay for a while, hold, hold, hold. Then she's gonna come grab my shoulder blades and pull them slowly and slightly forward so my shoulders and my armpits are coming over my hands. Hold for a while, and release. Then from here, you're going to slowly straighten your legs and try to push yourself forward. Hold, release, and then bend those arms. Slowly roll the spine back down to relax. Same thing, try to relax the spine. Bring those knees in, nice and calm, and rolling up. Next thing we're gonna do is some partner stretching. So what we're working on is called PNF, but basically we're gonna contract and use some resistance that I'm going to give her. She's going to contract her opposite muscle so that it's working, working, working. Release, and we'll allow the opposite side that then I'm stretching to lengthen out and relax and stretch a little bit further. So starting just one leg up, you can also apply a little bit of pressure here so that this hip bone does not come off the floor. You're not standing on it, but again, just keeping it in and making sure that the knee stays up to the ceiling instead of turned out to the side. This leg also is parallel, so her knee is facing her. So I'm just going to give her a little bit of pressure, and then I'm going to hold here. As I'm holding, she's going to try and push me away, and I'm giving her resistance by holding. and she's still breathing. Then she's going to take a big inhale and exhale and release that contraction, and I'm going to press just a little bit further. And then staying there, then she will then contract that muscle again and push. And then inhale in and relax and a little bit of pressure. You can repeat this about 4 or 5 times until you've really reached a nice, long, maximum strength. When they're done and you've completely finished, partner should pull this leg out, away from the hip, help them lower it down to the floor, and then nice and relaxed, and then repeat on the other side. I'm going to show 2 wall stretches. The first one is called a wallpaper. It's for a little bit more advanced in your hamstrings, like the pike doesn't feel like a whole lot anymore. You're going to place your feet, they're apart, a little bit wider than your hip bones. Stand close to the wall, roll your body down so your back is really sliding down against the wall. As you start to get closer to your full stretch, you're going to walk your feet into the wall and then continue to slide your body down. So now your feet are now pressing your body into the wall, and the wall is pressing your body into your feet. So this is a nice long stretch. Everything else can just stay nice and relaxed and calm. Hold for quite some time. When you're done, take a slight bend in the knees. Very, very calm. And then roll yourself up and away from the wall. And then just shake out your legs. So another one is for your center splits or your straddles. You're going to put your hips right up against the wall. So you don't want any space between your hip bones and the corner of where the floor meets the wall, but you really want your hips right down into that crease. So legs start up, walk your hips in as close as you can, laying flat on the floor. Start with your legs up, and then slowly and softly open your legs. And then again, feet can relax and stay open. Knees are rolled forward so that they're not up to the ceiling, but they're really opening out. And just stay for a really long time. As this increases, you'll feel your legs are going to be able to open and move down the wall just a little bit further. Stretch this nice and long. Spine is nice and straight. Again, when you're done, take a slight bend in the knees. Bring those legs together and shake them out. From there, with any of these stretches, once you feel nice and warm, any of these things could be done, at practice. Ideally, I know that there's not a lot of time at practice with your pool time in order to get all of this fit in. So anytime that you can do before or ideally after practice, the body needs to be nice and warm, especially at this point. If they have already been swimming, they should be ready to go, and you can go into more these stagnant, longer holding stretches. If you stretch prior to practice, any running or jumping jacks or anything, like knee pops, just to get the body moving, arm circles, shoulders, everything just nice and loose, body, blood flowing, everything calm, but ready to go. Then you can go into like the calm, nice warm-up that I started with earlier, and then that progression should get you ready to go. I would suggest doing all of this with your swimmers, making sure that they know the right technique, the right positions, they're not going to hurt themselves, and they really know what they're focused on, what each stretch is stretching, so that if they feel it in the wrong place, they can come and talk to you about it, or if they have any questions. Then once they have that knowledge that you've given them at practice, they can now do this at home and give it the full amount of time that is really needed for all of that. So in splits, depending on flexibility, you want to start, no matter what, how far down or up you are, with both legs really parallel. So if this is your flexibility, and this is it, you don't want this back leg to go down. You want to always have both legs nice and straight, no matter what you're able to do. Depending on rate of flexibility, the body will be more forward than back, essentially. Then after a while, hopefully you get a little bit further down. As you get closer, if you have swimmers that are here, try to get them to walk their hands further back towards their hips, so then they can take pressure off of that front leg and really start working that back, quad, and hip bone, and bring the body in one piece up to the ceiling rather than just the shoulders, this way. After holding here for a while, you can then allow your swimmers to open that hip, which will then drop them down probably a little bit further. Again, if they're up here, that can still stay nice and strong. Weight is on their hands so that there's no pressure on that back foot, but the knee is straight. You don't ever want to let anything bend in the front or the back. Another thing that will help them keep their body upright if their splits are fairly high is to put their weight on either chairs or something, maybe some blocks, or even just two people sitting like this, depending on what you have available around you. So you can start if you're fairly unflexible. Again, both legs start parallel, so don't let anything open out. Hips are square. Torso can be completely upright. You're supporting yourself on those chairs or whatever it is you're holding on to. And then eventually over time, hopefully bringing yourself down onto your elbows. Both legs nice and straight. Don't let anything open yet. As you hold both of these positions, you can then open, which probably will bring you then down into your splits. Eventually, hopefully, you won't need these, and then they will be gone. Try always to do your split with your torso rather than your torso pushing forward this way. You can really want to try and pull everything back and up to the ceiling. You can use extra stretches by purposely going over the front leg and holding for a while, flexing this foot, pointing the foot, don't let it turn out or in, and then same thing with that back leg. Just once you do open that leg, make sure that it stays behind you and that the knee does not bend. So no matter what, there's always full extension and shoulders square and head up to the ceiling. The best way to get into your center split, I believe, is through your straddle. Starting upright and walking yourself down sometimes can get a little strange because the feet then kind of waddle and you're not going down symmetrically. So I'll show it sideways. It's kind of how we got into our frog a little bit earlier. So the legs are nice and open. Take your body over. Now, depending on your rate of flexibility, some people can stay here. You're going to shift your weight onto your hands and then roll the body forward so that you bring your hips now in line with the legs. Now, if their second or their straddle is a little bit more closed and it's a little bit harder to get up and over, you can take a hand on either side of the body, one in front, one in back, and use this back hand to push your weight forward onto that front hand. So you're pushing over and then walk yourself out. And again, bring those hips in line, hold yourself wherever that may be, even if it's on your elbows, so that no matter what, legs are straight, nice and extended, hips are in line. Once you're done, slowly and safely bring yourself down, close your legs, shake them out. If you find that you really cannot push yourself up and over to shift your weight forward from your straddle position, again, I would find a chair or something nice and solid to support yourself. Shift your weight forward onto that first, take a nice wide stance, and then from there try to work those feet out, bring yourself as low as you can go, and then really, again, try to relax into those legs. Nice and straight, don't let them buckle, and really push down against that chair or box or whatever it is that you have so that gravity is still working into those hip bones. When you're done, just shift back up and really walk your feet in, and slowly bring them together. One of the things that is really good to use is the PNF theory in the splits. Water splits are a lot harder to achieve because you have to use your muscles in order to pull your legs down into the flexible split. So building that strength as well as having that flexibility is what is required. So one of the things to help strengthen the front of the leg, so it would be your front leg in the split, pulling that down with the hip flexor, and the quad is just sitting in a nice tall pike and lifting that front leg up, but without letting anything curl. It's not about the height of the leg, but it's just lifting it up and putting it down. You can do that with a flexed foot or a pointed foot or both. And again, any amount of repetition, and then repeat it on the opposite leg. For the back leg in your split, you're going to be using your hamstring and the very top of that. So a good one to do is just laying on your stomach. And then same thing, it's not about the height of the leg. Keep that leg parallel so that it's not turning out, and just lift it up and put it down. Make sure that you're only lifting that leg and that your hip bones are not coming off the floor, or that your opposite leg is contracting whatsoever. So it's really just that one leg that is moving and pulling that leg towards the body. Another thing to do in your split is really along those PNF lines of contracting your opposite muscle, breathing deep, and then relaxing that to release and sit a little bit further into your stretch. So in the split position, again, it does not matter how high you are. Okay, so if this is your height and you're here, after you stretch for a while, you can feel like you're pulling your hip bones or your pelvis straight up to the ceiling. The back of this thigh is pulling, and as well as